YTBC, what's the deal? Let me give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Lee Frazier. He just left a very, very interesting comment in the comment section to my Shannon Briggs rating the Arnold Jerichai and David Haye press conference. But he said, I've already devised a plan for Shannon Briggs. He should fight Gary Cornish up in Scotland on an Eddie Hearn card. Will be an easy win and look good against a prospect. David Allen called him out, so he should fight him again. Another easy win for Shannon against a young gun. Then should fight Haye. Shannon's got to stay busy. So I totally agree, and I actually suggested during my David Allen versus Jason Gavin, I believe in that post-fight video, I suggested a Shannon Briggs versus Allen, because we know Allen was calling him out. I believe that was an IFL TV video that I was watching, where he called him out, and he was calling out Briggs, and I forgot who else he called out. He called out another fighter too, I can't remember exactly, but I think the fight makes sense. So I agree with you, Lee Frazier. I think that fight makes sense because Shannon Briggs, I know he wants a big fight, but what he has to understand is just big fights just aren't going to happen next week. I know he's on a really good campaign with the Let's Go. He's keeping himself relevant. Some of these fighters should take some marketing tips from Shannon Briggs, because he's keeping his name alive without even fighting. He's literally just keeping his name alive by going out himself and making himself present at these press conferences. Whether you think it's stage, a gimmick, you don't like it, he's washed up, whatever you feel personally, that's fine. But he's keeping an uploader like myself talking about Shannon Briggs, and he's not in no title fights. Doesn't have a big fight on the horizon, nothing. Now I know he is in the UK taking care of business, trying to get some fights, and I think going the UK route, if he goes out there and fight, there's some good fights out there. Even like this is a winnable fight for Shannon Briggs, but a guy like Gary Cornish, okay, I think in his mindset this is a winnable fight for him also. This is an older guy. Yes, Gary Cornish did get knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has a chance of going to be something great. We don't know yet. He's getting a title shot against Martin. Shannon Briggs, former champion, has some quality wins in his career. Yes, he hasn't done anything of note as far as being a top contender recently. I believe his last competitive fight was about 6-7 years ago when he fought Klitschko. So yes, we can argue that, and I understand that, but he looks physically in shape. Fans can't complain about him having a fat stomach, unless you want to really critique this and say, oh well, he has gray hairs in his chin. If you really want to get critique it like that. But he is rated by the WBA whether we like it or not. I hear fans sometimes talk about ratings. Okay, he is rated number 4. Whether you believe he deserves that rating or not, he is there. He is there. He is there. Whether you believe he deserved it or not, he is there. David Haye is rated number 8, number 9 or 8 by the WBA. He's getting ready to fight Arnold Jerichai. It's going to be an interesting fight. If you haven't checked out my prospect watch video on Arnold Jerichai, please go to the heavyweight prospect list and check that out. Big, quick, he can be nimble at times. It just depends on which fight you research on him to watch. Sometimes he does look very slow-footed, but I've seen him very nimble on his feet for a big guy. Some of you guys are comparing these dudes to like welterweights, or everybody can't move around the ring like Ali. Everybody just doesn't have that footwork like that. But for a 6'6", 230 plus 240 pound guy, he's not that bad on his feet when he's moving around and being nimble. But he's selective when he does it. But sometimes you don't need to just unnecessarily move like that. But he isn't a perfect fighter. He does have his flaws, but he has some good qualities about him. He is 29-0 for a reason, and he is getting a shot against David Haye for a reason. Anyways, back to Allen and Cornish. I think those would be decent fights. David Allen, some people would say, oh, he's not ready. You can say what you want about him, but he did call out Shannon Briggs. He's already out there. You don't have any fights coming up. No fight's going to just fall into your lap. You have to stay busy somehow. So if you are going to stay busy, I would rather see him fight David Allen than Jason Gavin, wouldn't you? If Shannon Briggs right now said, "Hey, I'm gonna just stay busy and fight," and obviously this is hypothetical, but I'm gonna fight Jason Gavin, wouldn't you say, Jason Gavin? I mean, not, you know, and nothing against Jason Gavin, but a lot of fans are upset with Jason Gavin right now, so I'm just using him as a name. But we know that Jason Gavin, or even a Travis Walker, just somebody like that, we wouldn't want to see that fight. David Allen, I would want to see that because I believe David Allen right now will get the better of a Jason Gavin, which he did, or Travis Walker right now in his career. So I'd rather see Briggs versus David Allen. If you can't take a chance against a guy like David Allen, you don't really deserve a title shot, especially because you've given us nothing over the last 7 years. You know, we can't say, well, hey, he deserves a title shot because he is a former champion and he fought, his last big fight 7 years ago. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he's been active, so he hasn't given us anything. David Allen, in my opinion, and to really guys that are fans of the heavyweight division, that'd be a decent fight. While you're trying to build your resume or yourself back up to some of these new fans and get on the scene, that'd be a good fight. Gary Cornish, to me, if he's not going to win a title and he wants to just cash out in a few fights before he calls it a day, a fight with Shannon Briggs would be a good fight. I'm not saying Cornish should turn it down, but maybe Shannon Briggs can prove like, hey, I'm going to do what exactly Anthony Joshua did. I'm going to show you guys that it's easy to go in here and knock out Gary Cornish. I'm not saying it would be easy for Briggs, but maybe that can be his motivation, And then on the other side, Gary Cornish, if he's serious about, still trying to be heavyweight champion, because a loss like this can be very discouraging for a young fighter. You have to have, guys that get knocked out and keep pushing, they have heart, man. They have a lot of heart, because it's easy when you're undefeated with a glossy record and you have the size advantage and the youth or the experience or whatever on your side going into majority of your fights, and you're a 10-1 favorite and 15-1 favorite in those fights, and you're going to blow those guys out, and you're matched up with guys where your style is going to flourish. I mean, it's easy, to be very confident in those situations. But what about if you lose a fight, or you have tough fights, or you get knocked down multiple times, or your nose gets broken, or just something like that? Will you turn into a different fighter, or will you bite down on your mouthpiece and keep it going like a Evander Holyfield and George Foreman and Joe Frazier and Vitaly Klitschko, guys like that? I've seen Klitschko's damn near his skin fall off his face in a fight, and he wanted to continue fighting. So does Gary Cornish have that in him? I don't know. And I'm not saying that Gary Cornish is a coward or anything. I'm just saying, does he have it in him to turn his career around after a devastating loss like that? I mean, look at a guy like Eric Molina. His first professional fight, he gets knocked out in the first round. Knocked out in the first round. And proved himself enough to earn himself a title shot against Deontay Wilder. Again, there's no moral victories in this. We know that Molina wanted to be champion when he fought Wilder. It didn't happen. But for a guy to get knocked out in his first fight and to work his way up to a title shot, that's a lot of heart, man. That's a lot of heart, in my opinion. But I'm all over the place in this video, man. But it's just so many things to cover from so many different directions. But yes, I believe that that makes sense. Financially, does it make sense for Briggs? I'm not sure. Again, it comes down to finances with these boxers, man. So, like I always say, what's a substantial amount of money to me personally is a lot different to these fighters. So, just my opinion on this. Good comment. YTBC. I'm out.